I finally figured out that people tip you bigger when it's your birthday. And so, like, admittedly, I was lying, but like every time I worked, I was like, hey, here's your pizza. And they'd be like, oh, thanks. Like, how you doing today? I'm like, oh, well, it's my birthday, but I'm out here working. Oh, well, here, take an extra 20.
You either win or you learn. No, the only way you actually lose is if you quit the game. And this isn't motivational fluff. It's literally true. I mean,
Yes.
business is a game of iterative failure.
Now, I've heard an old folk tale that said that sometimes you have to hold the hand of the devil to cross the bridge. And
I truly believe that every setback is a setup. It's all about your perspective, okay?
it was like, I wanted to be a millionaire by 30, got it at 26, lost it by 27, right?
Orphans optimize and make all their decisions based on scarcity and survival. It's all about like who's going to screw me, who's going to take it, when's it all going to fall apart. They're not playing to win anymore. They're playing to not lose. They don't have the business of their dreams. They kind of abandon their dreams, but they're like, well, I should just be thankful for what I have, right? 10 out of 10 people die. Why not do something that matters while we're here? Don't make things harder than they need to be, but don't be scared of hard things. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares how hard it is? The question is it worth it?
The government's never showed up and said to anybody that I know, and I think entrepreneurs solve all of the world's problems. Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory. I've got a treat for you guys today. Josh Latimer, entrepreneur, speaker, founder of Honor and Fire. This dude has built and exited multiple businesses. I've known him for a really long time. For as long as I've known him, he's been helping entrepreneurs scale, but not just on the business sense, like actually having purpose. He's also probably one of the guys that I admire the most from a sense of being a family man. You guys know that I recently have had 2 children over the past 3 years, and so Josh has always kept that at his forefront, and so that's something that I valued from him. So it doesn't just focus on strategy. I would tie the word that comes to my mind is like identity, his leadership principles, and just overall making a long-term impact. His approach to challenges that business owners come across. He's seen it all. He's been in the throes of entrepreneurship, big and small, and he really wants to focus on creating financial success and meaningful legacy for the people that he works with. I feel confident saying that. And so, Josh, thank you for coming on, and welcome to the Sales Factory, my man.
DJ Carroll, thank you for having me. Great to connect with you, man.
Yeah, excited for you to be here. For people that don't know who you are, man, I know you and I have been in the same space for a long time. It's cool to, hear of a guy that used to be a window cleaner and has went on to great things. I know a good mutual friend of ours, Brandon Vaughn, he has told me before that the power washing business was his training wheels business, right? It's like where you learn all the things about business. Give my listeners a quick background if they've never heard of you. Tell them where you came from, man, and where you're at now.
Sure. Well, I'm a Scorpio and a hopeless romantic who enjoys long walks on the beach. No, I'm just kidding.
Wrong show, man.
I was a pizza delivery driver for Domino's Pizza. My boss that owned the pizza store was really the first entrepreneur I ever met. He gave me the bug. He had a red Corvette. I thought that was impossibly cool. We grew up middle class, hardworking, factory line type family, on both sides. I got married to my high school girlfriend, lived in a trailer park, and I delivered pizzas. And that's where we started. And then I picked up a squeegee. So my first real business was cleaning windows. And I just knocked on doors with my junky piece of crap 1993 Chevy Cavalier and would just clean windows. I didn't know anything. I was hungry. I was ambitious. I would read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'd listen to like Tony Robbins cassette tapes driving around in my little car. That was my first business. And, we had some success with that eventually. I mean, we were so poor in the beginning that, poor people felt sorry for us. But, I met people, I learned things. I learned about systems and strategy and identity, like you said. And so we scaled that to like 50,000 a week cleaning windows in a little town just south of Flint, Michigan. And then I sold it to a private equity company, which I never would have expected. It was a whole weird God thing because it wasn't even listed for sale. This company from California was just buying little companies like mine. And I sold it. From there, I got involved in software. We moved to Costa Rica for 2 years. We kept having more kids. We have 5 kids, 3 dogs. At this point, I built and sold 4 companies. And I'm in the software business as well as the education business. That's the super fast nutshell version.
I love it, man. I love it. Talk to me about Costa Rica, because I think, obviously the window cleaning stuff is, It's out there. You've talked about that a lot. I've always wanted to kind of capture this part of your story because I think it's very unique that um, one side of it is like it's really cool that you were able to just like dip out, right? Sold your company, ran away to the tropical paradise, right? But then you came back, and like I always wanted to capture that. You and I've talked about it a bit, but like I think it'd be really cool to talk about publicly because I think a lot of times, man, entrepreneurs, when you start at the place where you and I both start, like we both delivered pizzas, right? Which I think is like kind of like the old school hustle. I've joked around and said it on the podcast that like I finally figured out that people tip you bigger when it's your birthday, and so like admittedly I was lying, but like every time I worked I was like, hey, here's your pizza, and they'd be like, oh, thanks, like how you doing today? I'm like, oh well, it's my birthday, but I'm out here working. Oh well, here, take an extra 20. And it's like, hey man, when the bills are coming on pink slips, you get it how you can, right? And I've heard an old folk tale that said that sometimes you have to hold the hand of the devil to cross the bridge in bad times, right? And so it's looking at building your window cleaning company, selling it, getting an exit with a PE firm, and then moving off to the tropical paradise. Like what? But Josh, you're supposed to be on the beach drinking mai tais right now, man. Like just living it up. Like why are you back in the game? What brought you back, man?
Oh, I mean, we weren't bajillionaires because we sold our business. I mean, selling a business to PE sounds fancier than it probably is. It was still life-changing at the moment for that current identity level we were at. But
Mm.
it wasn't like never work again for 60 years money or anything like that. But we learned a lot. The truth is the reason we went there, and, at the risk of sounding crazy, but the truth is the truth, is we went there because we believe that God told us to go to Costa Rica. And I didn't know why. God doesn't like talk to me. I don't walk around talking to bushes and trees and thinking I'm talking to God. But I had this knowing in my soul, like, go to Costa Rica. And I had the knowing before I sold my company. Okay. As soon as I had
Oh.
this, as soon I had this thought, by the way, I'm a paralyzing introvert, and I've spoken on hundreds of stages and keynote and stuff, but I would just live in the forest by myself and not talk to people if it was up to me, to be totally honest. But I knew there's something here. And then someone offered to buy our house, even though it wasn't for sale. Someone offered to buy our company, even though it wasn't for sale. Everything lined up
Mm.
like bing, 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 bing. So we went. And it was a crazy thing. Now, if I would not have done that, the whole trajectory of my life would have been different because we had a small town mindset. And, we were like sort of a big fish in a little pond in a way. Like people respected our company locally and they're like, wow, Josh, you started this from scratch and you're creating jobs, not that many, but we had almost 30 employees and that was kind of cool in our little town. But what it did is it ripped me out of my comfort zone. And because we went to Costa Rica, I started my very first podcast, which ended up getting 1 million downloads. It's how I launched Send Jim, my software company that does like $1 million a month in revenue now. Like that was an idea on a napkin that would not exist if I didn't do this scary thing. And it was really hard, man. After we got down there, we stayed a couple years, came back, and my software business almost bankrupted me. I had to put $1 million to build it. Today software you can like talk to your phone and it will make you a whole CRM that $1 billion. You know, but back then it was like really expensive, and our software is very complex. And so there's just this hero's journey of like, crisis and death. It feels like death. And then there's a level up. There's a level up in identity and belief and my understanding, my mindsets, my skill sets, my network, everything exploded,
Mm.
and then, there's more from there. But it was a stepping stone. And so, yeah, window cleaning was my training wheels business. I don't think like I was been a bad person if I would have just played small and stayed in my little town. But I had a calling for more and I went for it.
I love that, man. Something yet that has always struck me about you is like you're not afraid to speak about your faith, and your belief in God, and I think that's really cool. I think that more entrepreneurs should do that. I think a lot of people don't, because they're afraid that it would impact their business. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm like the least religious Jesus person you've ever met. And so I'm kind of an enigma. I'm a equal opportunity offender, right? So like atheists get mad at me because like, what do you got to say, God? And then like, but religious people get offended by me all the time too, because I think religion is like pointless and stuff. And I don't think Jesus came to start a religion. So I have very strong opinions on that stuff. But
Ooh.
I don't even view it as like faith, really. It's like if I'm talking to you about my cousin Larry. I'm just referencing them. So God's real. Okay. Every watch has a watchmaker. It's absolutely insane. Like the most
Ooh, I like
crazy
that.
faith-based belief system you can have is atheism. I get the arguments of like agnostic, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, or the different religious buckets that people fall into. It's all good. All I'm saying is, uh, God, I was convinced enough, whether I'm crazy or not, that God told me to do something and I did it. And
Yeah.
this isn't a one-time event in my life. Stuff happens all the time. This week, there's someone that works here. I won't say his name. He's been with us for years at my new company. And my wife told me, something's going to happen. There's a change coming. Guess what happened the next day? A change happened, right? And it was initiated by him, not us. This stuff is like normal to us. It's just like normal. We sell
Yeah.
companies that aren't for sale. Like impossible things happen to us all the time. So I, it's, I don't know. I don't really think about it. It's just like I'm talking
Yeah.
about my cousin Eddie. It's like, yeah, Jesus did this thing. He's literally real, guys, for real.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think about that, Josh? Because I think one of the struggles, man, like when you when you finally get some money underneath of you and like you can breathe, right? Because there is this like first level of business that I talk about, and you have a really good framework of these, of like the stages that I've heard you talk about that entrepreneurs go through. I want to tap into that. But like when you get above water, where like your bills are paid, you're not hungry anymore, right? Like people aren't coming to take your car away. Places that you and I both have been
yeah.
before.
Yes. Oh yeah.
They're like, to me, man, it's a little easier to hear God talk when you're in that place, right? That sometimes in the throes of that, it may not be as easy because, like, yeah, sure, Josh, it's easy for you to talk about Jesus doing things in your business, but dude, my car just got repoed. You don't understand. Now I don't know how I'm going to get to work, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
But on the other side of that is I also think that once you have some of that clarity and you get away from the like push and the pressure, right? Because it does. It's like all out warfare to get your head above water, right? Because like unless you have a rich uncle that comes in and gives you startup money, or like your friend is a PE guy and invests to get you off the ground, most of my audience are going to be startup entrepreneurs that just got it out the mud, as Kevin Gates says, right? And so when you get it out the mud and you finally get to that point, I'm curious your thoughts of giving enough room to let God work, right? Because I can tell you when I lost my second business, which was Elite Fitness, my gym, I bought it. It was going down. The dude was going out of business. I was a fire sale. I got it for a song, grew at 300% 18 months. And because I was pushing, 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 I actually lost it. I lost the entire thing, $500,000 worth of real estate in a six-figure business when I was 27 years old, right? And it was like, I wanted to be a millionaire by 30, got it at 26, lost it by 27, right? And so, like, for me, I always look at that. I'm like, that wasn't necessarily God doing that. That was DJ's like hand on the throttle versus going, hey, man, let's kind of listen, right? Because I can tell you also some of the best things that have happened to me as an entrepreneur is when I've given space and really prayed about things and like got in tune with a higher power and like actually said, hey, what does God want to happen in my life, right? And like seeing what doors he had opened for me. Because I feel like sometimes, man, we're running in this rat race as an entrepreneur so fast that like you don't even see this thing over here. And it's like, all right, well then let this business crash and burn real quick. So then you can see what I'm trying to put in front of you, right? Talk to me about giving space, because I talk about that a lot, like giving space on your calendar, giving space in your roadmap for God to do his will in your business.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll, and I want to interrupt this podcast real quick to make sure you guys are getting your copy of the Hunter Head Game. You can go to thehunterheadgame.com and register for your copy. Everyone that registers will get a free copy of the audio book. It doesn't cost me anything to get that out to you, so it's one of the easiest ways for me to give back to the entrepreneur community. This book is really focused on the last 10 years of my life and all the lessons that I've learned along the way being an entrepreneur. I truly believe that the old world rewarded obedience, and we're in a new world that demands killer instincts. As we continue to see layoffs and we continue to see economic changes happen, the creator economy, the gig economy, I think this book will open your eyes and give you some much needed skills and a refresher. Even if you're an apex hunter already, I think there's some stuff in here that you could take away to sharpen your blade. So go to thehunterheadgame.com and pre-register for your copy. Let's get back to the episode.
First thing people should know is that I've had cars repossessed. I've had my electricity shut off. We've had grocery left on our front porch. I've had cash left in my mailbox. We've hurt, man. I always joke that I have a bachelor's degree in pain and a master's degree in suffering. And I don't want the PhD in whatever the next level is.
Whatever's next, right?
Yeah, so I didn't forget. I know exactly what that's like. And then, there's also another concept known as rich poor, right? So you can be net
Mm.
worth rich but still be poor. And there's like all
Yep.
kinds of complex financial things that can happen. I remember a clip of Donald Trump from like the 90s talking about how a guy on the street was richer than he was because he was upside down by billions of dollars in debt at the time. So look, life feels hard, but I truly believe that every setback is a setup. It's all about your perspective, okay? So like your mess becomes your message. And so that
Mm.
business failure can become a great chapter 3 in your upcoming book. It helps you have empathy and compassion and understanding. You either win or you learn. Now, the only way you actually lose is if you quit the game. And this isn't
Mm.
motivational fluff. It's literally true. I mean,
Yes.
business is a game of iterative failure. That's what it is. And the only way you can actually level up and grow is to get data. And data comes in many forms. And a big important piece of it is, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that was a bad idea. Got it. But now it's in your ledger. Okay. Your brain
Mm.
is this ledger, right? And then regarding mindset, I'm actually writing my first book right now too. And one of the
Nice.
things in there is this concept called orphans, sons, and kings. And so when I look back at the trailer park days, I had an orphan mindset. And when you talk about not being able to hear God because you're in survival mode, yeah, that's a real thing, right? Because you're just like you're thinking in 24-hour loops. How do I get bread today? How do I survive till today? And then if you get a little bit of space, you're still an orphan, but you can think in 1 week loops, right? And then maybe you can get it to where you think 1 month at a time, but it's still an orphan mindset. Orphans optimize and make all their decisions based on scarcity and survival. It's all about
Yeah.
like who's going to screw me, who's going to take it, when's it all going to fall apart. We were waiting for the shoe to drop. And there's like a story in the Bible that talks about the Israelites were like the Egyptians had them as slaves and they had an orphan mindset. So then when Moses freed them, they weren't actually free. They wandered around the wilderness for 40 years because you can take the kid out of the trailer park. You can't take the trailer park out of the kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's like this progression and it takes a minute, right? A lot of it has to do with the people you spend time with, the people you give permission to speak into your life, the content that you put in your eyes and your ears. If all you do is scroll TikTok with World War III doom porn all day, you're going to stay an orphan longer. And then a lot
Mm.
of people get to a place of some base security. And that's when you're in the son-daughter phase. And it's kind of awesome, like because when they were wandering in the wilderness, they didn't have to get their own food. They didn't have to like their clothes never like the whole story, like whether it's a metaphor or not, like their clothes never wore out. Like they were safe. And so what happens, a lot of small business owners live as a son or daughter mindset. And that means that they're making decisions based on security. You see this all the time. Like they're not playing to win anymore. They're playing to not lose.
Not
They don't
lose.
have the
Yeah.
business of their dreams. They kind of abandon their dreams, but they're like, well, I should just be thankful for what I have, right? They're not going towards their real purpose, right? Some people listen to this are supposed to be a speaker or an author or a writer or a philanthropist. You're supposed to be worth $100 million. You're supposed to do something big, but you're settled. And
Mm.
no one's mad at you, including God. Like it's all good. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if all of your decisions are like, oh, don't mess up. Oh, don't risk capital. Oh, don't do anything because you're so scared of living like an orphan again. You're missing the best part of all, which is a king mindset.
Mm.
So orphan, son, king. Kings optimize for significance. Significance doesn't mean I'm fancy. It means I'm going down swinging. I'm going for the home run. I'm going to swing hard. If I miss, I miss. And you're just going bigger, right? You're thinking about other people. Orphans and sons both are self-obsessed. It's about surviving and securing yourself. Kings are about like, who am I called to serve and how do I go all in? How do I jump off the cliff and build the plane in the way down? And I think that's exciting. 10
Yeah.
out of 10 people die. Why not do something that matters while we're here?
I couldn't agree more, man. I want to talk a little bit about identity and leadership, because you talk a lot about identity. We talked a little bit there, right? About that. That is an identity, right? Who are you identifying as? Are you the orphan, the son, or the king? Um, and how does that tie in? Again, I don't know if you still have the honor and fire thing. I see the hard things. I know that's been a saying of yours for a really long time that I love. Talk to me about like, what are you still in the software space? Like what's your identity? What's Josh Latimer now? Because you're clearly not the window cleaning guy in the little town outside of Flint, Michigan anymore. Where's Josh Latimer at today?
Well, our company is called Honor and Fire, but most of our customers don't know that. The brand that I'm building now is called War Plan. And War Plan is a combo of software and education. We launch what are called decentralized coaching businesses, and that's a whole interesting thing. Uh, and we help people launch local masterminds where they get paid for them and it acts as a JV referral engine for their core business. It's mind blowing. It's really cool. So I've been building that for a while. But identity wise, I mean, I view business sort of like as ministry, basically. I think my life purpose is to give away lots of money, like radical generosity. I like to give money away. I do. I have since I was a little kid, even when I didn't have any money. It lights me up. I can't sit in the jungle and feed orphans, but I could build an orphanage. That's kind of cool. And so you got to have a lot of money to give away a lot of money. And the other thing I think is interesting is my wife and I love to work with entrepreneur couples and, get them to have more sex and be connected and get momentum and like find their purpose. And I want to light it on fire, but they don't want to hear about that stuff when they can't breathe.
Yeah.
And so in a way, the real kind of dirty secret is we teach people how to make a lot more money really fast. And the reason I do it is to earn the right to be heard about all this other stuff. And so when they come into our world, we walk them through our frameworks and stuff, and they make more money and they can breathe. They start crying sometimes. And then it's like, hey, go play with your kids, go date your wife. Hey, God's real and he's not mad at you. Did you know that? Right. And so I wear this Slay Like David hat. It's like a conversation starter. It's like, do hard things, don't make things harder than they need to be, but don't be scared of hard things. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares how hard it is? The question is it worth it? If it's not worth it, stop doing the hard thing. If it is worth it, just get over it, boo-hoo for you. Do it. It's worth it. It doesn't matter. So that's kind of our vibe. That's kind of what makes us different is we have a heart for small business owners. We call them Larrys and Lindas. They're the good-hearted local T-ball coach person that's just trying to survive. And even these days, even $1 million business just is barely enough to make it. I mean, you need a home equity loan to buy a pack of bacon, like costs are crazy, insurance is crazy, healthcare, unexpected stuff. And the best-hearted people often have the hardest time getting paid what they deserve because they walk around with fear, scarcity, orphan mindsets. They're undercharged. They undercharge. They don't cross-sell and upsell correctly. They don't know what a high-ticket decoy offer is. They don't understand choreography in their business and how to just extract maximum profit. Or they think profit is wrong. They think a lot of these religious program people, they think profit's evil or something.
Yeah.
And so they're running their business like a nonprofit on accident, and they have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And there's all this psychology, and they're like,
Right.
These are the people that we serve. This is who we have.
It's one of those things where I've said this before, where it's like, if you're going to run your business like a nonprofit, at least do the proper tax filing so that you don't have to pay taxes on the income that you make, right? It's like, you're running a nonprofit and you're having to pay taxes. It's like, make sure you're doing one, not both. Josh, I'm curious, man. You said something there about the people they undercharge. I look at my life, right? I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18. I'll be 28 in a couple of months. I'll be 38 in a couple of months. So I'm 20 years into this thing almost. And one of the things that, if I'm being honest with my audience, is I didn't realize how many fucking rich people there were out there, right? And so like sometimes you don't charge as much because you're like, well, I mean, in the trailer park, everybody's fucking broke, right? Like I remember when I started my first lawn care business when I was 13, right? When I still lived in Indianapolis, where did I go sell lawn care services? At my aunt's trailer park, right? And it's like the absolute worst place to try to go sell these services. And so do you think that some people like that self-limiting belief of like how many millionaires are actually out there? Like, do you think that's one of the things that hold them back?
Ding, 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 for sure. 100%. I mean, the year after COVID, 6,800 people per day became millionaires in the United States. I think it's 2.5
there's
million.
20 there's 23 million millionaires in the United States. Like
there's millions and millions of millionaires. And just that year, which is the year after COVID, 2.5 million became millionaires, and 80% of them were first generation, meaning it wasn't mommy daddy money. So look, there's more than enough for everyone to have more than enough. The problem is the frame with, you think is just true. And there's a saying someone told me a long time ago that you can only see the world through your own eyes. And so what that means is if you
Mm.
are a thief, you think everyone's stealing from you.
Yep.
And if you are an adulterer, you think your spouse is sneaking around, right? And if you are poor, you think everyone's poor, and you're just wrong. And it's not your fault. It's just how we can only see the world through our own eyes. So that's why proximity to different people is so huge. I mean, if you're
Massive.
around people that just think 100 times bigger than you, it's near impossible for it to not affect the way that you think. And I joined what at the time was a really expensive master group.
This was on my list to ask you. This is Russell's group.
Yes,
Yeah.
originally. Yeah. So back in 2016, I was on the beach of Costa Rica. I had spent $1 million in this software. I had actually started that software in like 2011. It was like an idea. Long story short, I had worked for 6 years full time and not taken $1 out of that business. Okay. Now
Wow.
I had sold my other cleaning company and that was subsidizing everything, but it was like the bank account was going the wrong direction, right? But I knew I built something valuable, but I could not figure out what to do. Like I didn't understand the unit economics of that business model. And so I gave $25,000 to this guy on the internet named Russell Brunson. And I joined this mastermind group. And there's all these fancy people. Alex Hormozy was in our group. Myron Golden was in our group. Brandon and Kaylin Poulin did $250 million online before they were 30 years old. They were in our group. And a ton more awesome people. And I sat in this group feeling like the biggest imposter fraud of all time. And I noticed a couple things. Number one, my business that had done 900,000 in revenue with zero profit, with zero paycheck for Josh over 6 total years, did 4.2 million the next 18 months.
Wow.
And they did not tell me some magical tactic. They didn't tell me use blue on your ad instead of red. None of that happened.
It wasn't a headline optimization.
It wasn't actually, no. It was just a realization. I had a misunderstanding. It wasn't my fault. I just didn't know that these people, the people you look up to, they're like not that big of a deal. And that's not a disparaging remark about them. It's not about pulling them down. It's about I pulled myself up. I realized, wait a second, these guys are disappointingly average at like everything except three things. And here's what they are. Number one, they think orders of magnitude bigger, way, not a little bit bigger,
Mm.
way bigger in a way that feels almost stupid when you're a small thinking person. But it's normal to them. They think way bigger. Number two, they take disproportionate amount of action, meaning when they do something, they do it with extreme volume, right? So most people are like, yeah, I tried YouTube. I tried to do a podcast, but DJ, you've done this podcast for 10 years. That's not the same
Yeah.
thing as trying a podcast, right? So they take disproportionate action. And so like, let's just focus on those two, right? Just thinking bigger will grow your business because you approach all the problems different. If you do a 1.2 million, you're like, how do I get to 1.5? What you're doing is you're going to optimize the same thing you already did and try to be more efficient at a little bit more of that. If you're at 1.3 million and you or 2 million and you say, I want to do 6 million in 12 months, you have to the way you'd even solve that is to tear everything down and start from scratch. Like the whole way you approach it, everything,
Yep.
you'd have to reevaluate the whole thing. And these people think like that and they take massive action. And I don't know. So that helped me a lot, just thinking different. So the proximity of the people, belief is transferable. And so when you're around people like this and you build relationships, it becomes very weird for you also not to think big and take more action. And that's really what happened. And so after that, the software company literally was like saved from the brink of disaster. Then I launched a coaching business called Conquer. Conquer grew really big. We sold that to a house called Pro years later, and Brandon Vaughn and I. And that was really successful. Then I took a couple years off. Now we're building War Plan, but I feel much more comfortable now thinking thoughts that old Josh would think were insane. And it doesn't feel fake when I think them. It just
Yeah.
feels correct.
It's not like mental masturbation. Be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make $10 million. It's like no, like you can touch it, taste it, smell it, feel it. Like what I mean? It's like
Yep.
it's real to you now. And so I want to make sure I had the three down. So orders of magnitude, they think orders of magnitude bigger. They take disproportionate levels of action, which you hear Hermosi talk about tons, right? Like that's his do more of it, do it better before you try to do something different. What was the third one?
Speed.
Speed. Speed wins in business, man.
The speed is king. And so what happens is when you go into these mastermind, by the way, my wife and I last year were in a $150,000 mastermind. And I know that sounds so dumb and crazy, but there's levels to all that. And when you're around these people, here's the main difference. They're just warm, nice, generous people. They're very smart at their certain couple things, but generally they just think bigger, they take bigger action, and they move so fast. And so what will happen is someone will present an idea, a concept, a new something that's working in their business. The whole room is literally implementing it while they're still talking. Okay. They're in Slack, they're on the phone with the team, the landing page is getting built, they're changing this, or doing like the stuff's happening, right? I remember Russell himself, all these people were paying him money. He was taking more notes than everybody in the room. And then he's handing these notes to people on his team. They're like whispering in his ear, and he's doing this and he's doing that, and they're going out. And that's why ClickFunnels built to $100 million in 3 years, because he was just moving like a rocket ship. And so speed, volume, and thinking bigger.
I love
And
it, man.
the rest is just acquirable skills. You might not know something that you
Yeah.
need to know, but just go learn it.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. If
Yeah.
someone else learned it, so can you.
Right.
These people, there's a quote that says, never meet your heroes. And I think the spirit behind that quote is like, you're going to be disappointed. And I think that's sort of true on the one hand, but I think you should meet your heroes, because you're going to be excited about yourself. You're going to realize, oh my gosh, I was putting myself way down here for no reason.
Dude, so
I'm
true.
already up here. They're legitimately ahead of me for sure, no doubt about it. But I'm like a hop, skip, and a jump away from doing the same thing. I need to learn a couple skills, take a couple scary actions, and I'm in the same game.
Yeah. I can't give details because of the documents I had to sign around that, but the like meet your heroes thing became very, very clear and apparent to me over the last 12 months. I had a deal that I was working on with a quote unquote hero. And then when you get real close to the fire, it's almost like Wizard of Oz ish. And you like see behind the curtain and you're like, wait, what that is? That right there? Dude, okay, I
That's
can do
why
this, right? It's like
yeah,
you don't need somebody else to put you on, right? Is like the lesson that I learned
right.
out of that. And it's like if you just believe in yourself more, that oftentimes I think that's like I was on Bradley's podcast, Dropping Bombs, and we talked about this, where it's like I think the broke mentality, like the trailer park, mentality is like, well, I have to get the stuff and then I'll become the person. And it's like, even if you go back to scripture, it's you be, right? You have to be that person and then you'll get that life, right? And so it's like, it all starts with belief. And if you think about it, like, what's free will? Free will is nothing more than belief and making decisions, right? And so, like, if that was the ultimate thing that we got from God was, free will, like he has a plan for us, but we can still murky it up with our free will. It's our choice and our belief systems. And so, like, I think, man, there's so many people that I meet. I know you meet a ton of them as well, where it's like, if you just believed that you could actually be a millionaire, if you just believed that you actually could do the thing and get in those rooms, like that self-worth would find you, and like you just start operating at a different level. And then like money has nothing to do with any of that. Right? It's like you don't get the millions of dollars in the bank and then start believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself and then you get the millions of dollars in the bank.
Yeah, money's a derivative.
Mm.
I used to work. I had a sales job in my early 20s. There's a couple other things I did, and it wasn't just pizza to window cleaning. Like I had a couple jobs in between, stuff. And one of them was working for Dan Gilbert, who's a billionaire. He owns Quicken Loans, and I would like sit in the call center and call people and try to sell them mortgages and stuff. Um, but they had a quote on the wall that said, "Money follows, it doesn't lead." And at that
Ooh.
time, I'm like, I didn't get it. I was like, what? What does that mean? It makes sense, right? But meaning money is the natural byproduct of something else. Money is automatically created when other things are true, right? Whether it's value creation, when you have scarcity thinking, like for example, if you view the economy as a pie, like an economic pie, it's really hard to make a lot of money because especially if you're a good person, because you literally think that you succeeding definitionally means that someone's losing. Because if there's a pie and you take a slice, that means there's less for someone else, right? If you make an extra 10 grand this month or an extra million this month, that means someone else went without. That is not how the economy works, my friend, at all. See, the economy is like a garden. And you started to allude to a framework known as Be Do Have, which is from Myron Golden. And
Yep.
he's Myron's writing the forward in my book. And he's a friend of mine because I met him in that group 8 years ago. I knew Myron before he was like the internet famous guy. But he was the same person then too. And we actually have an ongoing joke where I just saw him 2 weeks ago, actually. And I said, Myron, I think it happened. And he just started laughing because back then I could see who he was the whole time. And I'm like, why aren't you a thing? Why aren't you freaking huge? Let's whiteboard it out. How do we get this thing? And he was never stressed about it, DJ. He goes, oh, it'll happen. It'll happen when it happens. I said, what do you mean it'll happen when it happens? He's like, oh, it'll happen when it happens, baby. And he was just like cool as a cucumber about it. And so now I'm like, hey, I think that thing happened. He's got a 120 million view reel on Instagram. He's got millions of followers on both
Yeah.
platforms. Um,
Sharp dude, man.
but
He's the reason why I have a home equity line as my primary on my house.
there you go. Yeah. Myron's awesome. And he started off as a trash man that made $4.25 an hour. And
Wow.
his original book is called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. And Myron's had a big effect on my life. Um,
I met him in 2016 at the ClickFunnels conference in San Diego.
oh yeah. Oh, you went to
It,
that one. That was
yeah,
before I even went to one. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool. It's a funny story. I've talked about this before, but that's when I met Alex Hermosi for the first time. Him and Alex Charfin. Do you know Alex Charfin?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so they were in the hall.
Talk to him too.
Yeah,
He's a
they were in the hallway. It's funny, man. The cream rises to the top, right? Like it's a decade later, and it's like you see, like the players are the players, and they've always been the players, right? And it's like the cream kind of rises to the top. But they were in the hallway, and we were on break, so I just kind of walked up because like I knew Alex was speaking on stage later that day, and so I was like, "Hey, you guys mind if I listen in?" And they're like, "No, you're fine, man." Because that's the other thing you'll figure out is the internet money guys. Like we're like the most laid back, chill dudes, right? It's like and they just want everybody to win, right? It is that garden mentality. I love that. I've never heard that before, but it's like you pluck one piece of lettuce and like four pieces grow back, right?
That's right.
So we're standing in a hallway, and I hear Alex telling Alex Charfin, Alex Hermosi was telling Alex Charfin, he's like, yeah, I've got these like 8 gyms, and they're crushing it, and I'm gonna go build them all across the U.S. And Alex Charfin's like, that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. And I just remember Alex Hermosi looking at him like, what? Like, bro, I have the model figured out. And he was like, exactly. So why would you try to go play in the brick and mortar game when there's already gyms everywhere? Just go teach them your system. And I was sitting there, I was like, damn, that's pretty smart. That's like, franchising just the education and training part, right? And then that's what eventually became Gym Launch and like, was one of his first claims to success. And it's just so cool, man, to like, I think my lucky stars that I took that trip. That was my first time in California, flying out from Kentucky, right? To like see the beautiful San Diego coast, and to be in that room, to see Russell Brunson put on an event. I'd never been around that type of electricity, dude. Like up to that point, you and I came from the same industry. Like I went to pressure washing conferences. Like nobody's coming out and jumping up and down and cheering everybody on, right? It's like they're like, all right, next up is the sealer manufacturer. Come on up, Ted. It's like,
Yeah.
and so it's like being able to see those guys and to see how they've continued to grow. It's cool. I have something that I tell my team all the time, Josh, because I have not blown up by any stretch of the imagination at all. At least not in what I think is possible. And I tell my team this all the time. I do this for life, not for likes. Right? Like I just need one person to hear our conversation today, man, and it changes their life. And I'm like, that was worth it. That was worth my hour of hanging out with Josh Latimer and pouring back into somebody, because I think that's planting seeds, and eventually those seeds will grow. And that harvest will be bountiful when it comes back. So I love that you and Myron have that kind of stick where you're like, hey man, I think it's finally happening for you. Because
Oh yeah,
what
it's
is he in his
definitely
60s?
happening. What's that?
Is he in his 60s? How old
Yeah,
is he?
he's actually exactly 20 years older than me. So
Okay.
I'm 44, he's 64.
Okay.
Yeah, he's because I keep telling him like I got 20 years to catch up to you, but so yeah,
I love
yeah,
it, man.
it,
Well,
yeah.
I don't want to get off of here without us talking about FRAP, not FAP. FRAP it's a new acronym. I'm on your email list, man. I see the emails. I see the stuff. What is this? What do you got cooking over there, man? What is FRAP?
Frap is a label that I attach to something that's always been true. I didn't invent frap. I
That's a
labeled
hook.
it, okay?
Yeah, I
Um,
like it.
Well, it is a hook, but it's also really true. Okay. Like the way a business makes profit was the same 500 years ago as it is right now, and it will be true in 500 years, regardless of AI, regardless of anything. And so FRAP is an acronym for frequency, referrals, average ticket, and price. And there's
Mm.
big fancy business consultants, people like Jay Abraham, for example, who I love to learn from him, big giant business nerd guy. It costs $120,000 a day to do a day with Jay Abraham. And when you hang out with someone like him and he lifts the hood up on your business and he examines what's going on, that man will make you more profit for free using creativity. And what he's really doing is walking you through FRAP. And he doesn't call it that, but he famously says there's only three ways to make money, right? You either get new customers, which is what everyone's obsessed with, or you get more money from your current customers, or you increase frequency. And I always thought that was interesting. And what happened was when I sold my business to private equity, before the ink was even dry on the paper, I started noticing things they were doing to my business to immediately unlock more EBITDA, more profit for free. Like they raised my prices. And I know this does not sound revolutionary. Here's the thing though, people that already think they know can't learn. And so, like, some of these concepts
Ooh.
seem really simple. And then if you're dumb, you'll turn your brain off and be like, oh, yeah, 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 I know. It's like, no, you don't. Trust me, you don't. Frap is insanely powerful. And so, what it is, it's like, we got to think through, like, are we maximizing the price elasticity of our business, of our model, of our market in the way that my industry works? And there's things like supply and demand pricing, there's static pricing, and there's customer and product specific price moves that you can do. There's a guy in Washington State that has a $3.4 million pressure cleaning business. Everyone thinks it's a good business. It is. He's a nice guy. We get in there. I'm consulting with him on Frap. And he paid me $100,000 to do it, by the way. And within the first four calls that I had with him, we found $300,000 a year in profit for free just by manipulating his supply and demand pricing and the way that it worked in his market. And the guy like fell out of his chair because it's invisible to us, to our own business, because we get numb to it, right? And then average ticket is things like, how are we cross-selling and upselling? How do we create a high ticket version of our offer? Do we have a decoy offer? What does that even mean? What is choice architecture? How do we do all, there's so much stuff, right? And then referrals doesn't just mean that Lisa, your client, gives you a referral. It's like, how do you open up strategic joint venture partnerships? How do you distribute the proof of your 5-star reviews? How do we upgrade them to testimonials? How do we get your customers to tag you on social media and build incentives and scripts and flows for that to happen? And then frequency is, how do we get people to buy more often? How do we have a script subscription or a membership component or a club or a level or a punch card or a diamond member, right? And when you understand this stuff, you make way more profit. And revenue is for vanity, profits for sanity. There
Yep.
are so many people, DJ, that have multi-million dollar businesses that don't have any money. Lots of them. I know because I'm the guy they come to and I help. This isn't recently true. I've been doing this for 15 years. And even when my business was smaller than other people's business, I'd be consulting pretty big companies, you know? And so FRAP is this label to simplify all of that fun, interesting stuff I just said, where it's like, okay, am I really doing this right? Because before you run more ads, before you buy a bunch of leads from the liars and charlatan marketing agencies that promise the world and never come through before you do that, the unit economics of one brand new shiny customer has to math. The math has to math. I'm sure you're familiar with Dan Kennedy, right?
Oh yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
Dan Kennedy. And
Yeah.
he famously says, nothing overcomes bad economics. Nothing. And what he means is if you have $1,000 customer and you only make $100 in profit, but you spent $300 in marketing to get them, that means you lost $200 to get them. And you're not Jeff Bezos. You can't
Right.
play that game, right? But if we can use Frap to make the $100 in profit turn into 250 or into 400, now we can market more. People think marketing needs to be cheaper. The truth is we have to make your customers more valuable.
Yeah.
That's
They're
what
worth
Frap
more.
is for. And crazy enough, I haven't even announced this to anyone publicly, but at the end of May, I'm doing an online challenge with Russell Brunson and Dan Kennedy about Frap.
Wow.
And no
All
one told me.
right.
They're like
You guys heard it
endorsing
here
the whole.
first.
Yeah, it's like we don't even have it all finalized. But when Russell found out what we're doing, he messaged me and he's like, "Tell me about decentralized coaching. Like what is it?" Like he was just intrigued, and so we talked about it a bunch of times the last like year or two. And now he's like starting to click because the way we teach people frat, by the way, is through local masterminds. And so if you've ever been to like a really boring B&I meeting the last 20 years, there's some value there, but like if 50% of the people I know that go to B&I really don't like it. What if instead of a networking group with like one-off referrals, people got together, they frapped each other's business, they paid a little bit of a higher price, so there's skin in the game. But really, what they're there to do is joint venture swap. And what that means, it's a part of frap, but it's where the plumber and the landscaper and the flower shop and the yoga studio are structurally embedding each other's offers in the flows of each other's business. And we have this software that they sit inside, right, when they're doing these local masterminds that uses AI to figure out how to do this and does it all for them. That's why Russell was so excited because it's like the internet is so noisy. It's just a bloody red ocean of loud idiots running around making, I'm a business coach, I'm a this.
Yeah.
And a lot of really smart people, they're like, they want to be a mentor, they want to coach or help someone, but how? Does that mean they have to run around on Instagram and act like they're amazing? Right? That doesn't
Yeah.
even work anymore. So
Yeah.
instead, it's like 5 Mile famous, not Instagram famous. And that's what our business really is. And so we distribute the gospel of frap through these decentralized coaches, meaning regular people, good-hearted people that just they want to grow their own local business, but they do it by forming a local mastermind group. They're making money from that, and
Yeah.
they're building a JV referral engine on top of it.
That's cool, man. I love that. I recently saw, I can't remember whose video it was, but it was talking about like one of the best partnerships strategies that you can do is embed yourself in their like ongoing email list, right? So like if
Yeah.
people have challenges when they get to the end of their challenge, okay, now I'm going to promote your challenge for 5 emails, and then you'll do the same on the backside of your challenge. You'll say, hey,
Yeah.
if you didn't sign up or if you did, here was this new challenge that you should check out. And I was like, damn, that's really cool because like we've done joint venture stuff with webinars. I just did one 2 weeks ago with Lending Tree, which was really cool. And so partnerships are massive, man. I love hearing that you've got that structure out. How can people find out more about that? I know maybe it's not out yet, but like if they're
Yeah,
interested,
it's
it sounds
actually really
interesting.
not. There's not like a call to action, really. I mean, my base website is warplan.com, just WAR plan,
How much did you
warplan.com.
have to pay for that, dude?
Well, funny enough, it wasn't that bad, but I owned the warplan.com. So technically I think I paid 10 grand for Warplan,
That's not
but,
bad. Yeah.
but I paid 10 grand just to remove because I already had the
Right.
Warplan. But it was worth it. It was worth it. That is probably the best place to start, and you can click around and find my stuff or something if you're interested. And I have podcasts and YouTube and different things on there. And we're just looking for people that want to make more money and have had that itch in the back of their mind of like, man, could I monetize my expertise? Could I be a coach or a mentor, or a trainer, a consultant? Like, there's a lot of people that really haven't went for that because it feels dirty.
Yep.
And our model is really ninja, and it's so simple and it's good. It's like a breath of fresh air in a world full of internet gurus, to just
Yeah.
form one of these groups, people helping people, and Frap works. Frap is it can't not work.
It
It's
sounds like you found a better way for a better mousetrap in the coaching business model, right? Because like the challenge with one-to-one coaching is there's only so many hours in the day. It's only so many hours in the week. And so, that's what I saw from my first sales coach that I hired was like he was doing one-to-one coaching, but it was like, dude, he did 5 sessions a day, 4 days a week, and he was
yeah.
maxed out. You know what I mean? And it was like his potential, annual earnings, his lifetime value of his customers were capped. His potential earnings was capped because he was doing the one-to-one work, right? And so it's like it's cool to see some of these new business models that are coming out around coaching and ways that you're reimagining it, and then using software and AI with it too. Because I know we didn't talk much about it, and the hour's already up, but it's like AI has changed the landscape, man. Even you alluded to it earlier that cost you $1 million to build SimGym, you probably could do it in a weekend now with Claude Code, right? Knowing all the things that you know. Now, that's not to say somebody listening could go do it in a weekend because 80%
No,
of
you,
being a
you could.
software is squashing
Software's
bugs, but
software is a commodity now. It's literally a commodity, and it's becoming increasingly commodity. Where the opportunity is in community, it's in relationships. Software is very useful. We all need it, right? But what's happening is everyone's becoming a SaaS company now. Like
yeah,
everyone.
the only pushback on that, Josh, is I would say that software, minimum MVP software has become, you can build that in a weekend. But what I have figured out is that that's 20% of the fucking game. 80% is debugging all the millions of edge cases that take time and trial and effort. And sure, you can run AI simulations to do it as well. But I think we are going to see a bloodbath in the next 12 to 18 months of like software companies from non-technical founders that like get built and then like it's, to me, man, it's like flashing. I'm having flashbacks of social media marketing. It's 2.0 for that, right? It's the charlatans that are like, oh yeah, we'll do social media marketing for you. It'll be awesome. And then like your phone doesn't ring anymore or any less. And then it's like, well, why am I paying you $1,500 a month, $2,500 a month, $5,000 a month, right? It's like same thing with the software. You're going to sign up for a software that some guy built in a weekend, and then you're going to find all these, and you're going to do more time reporting bugs than you are actually using the software. So I think
that's true. But what's happening is the business owner that's receiving all these marketing messages from everybody and their brother that's like, I have a SaaS, I have a tool, I built a tool, I built a tool, I'm an agency. To the consumer, it's all the same thing. And so yes, there are legitimate companies embedded in that noise, but the noise is increasing in ways that's insane. And so the way to stand out is to not talk about software and agency stuff. It's to talk about, hey, let's escape the noise and get in community. Hey, let's get in a small room. Hey, let's do this other thing. It's launching a movement or having a tribe, giving identity to a group of people. I mean, that is going to become the easiest way to get attention because I agree that there's a bunch of AI slop, a lot of the products that they're making. But Lisa that owns the bakery doesn't know that. She just knows that 17 people that week told her about their cool AI tool. Right. And so what's happening is she is getting fatigued at all the noise. And so the pocket, in my opinion, and what I've making a bet on, I've spent $3 million of our own money the last 3 years to build our team and get the studio and do this stuff. And because I could sort of see this coming, like not perfectly clear, but I'm like, I want to make a bet on small communities, not big, because I built a big coaching program in the past. And the bigger it got, the worse it was for our customer. Kind of, it became corporate and sterile. And we had almost 1,000 people in there, and this was like $1,000 a month thing. It was crazy, but it wasn't good. I think what's good is get no hype, small community. Like there's something to that that's just interesting. From a positioning perspective. If I had an agency, I would be framing it different. Like figure out a way to make the agency services free if they're a member of your community. And that's just a framing difference. If I want to sell this book, which actually this is a book that we made for kids that we sell for $100. How do you sell $100 book? Well, you give away the book for free if they buy a $100 course. And so it's like what's for sale? And I don't want my AI tool to be for sale. I want it to be just automatically included inside this community.
Interesting.
That makes sense. It's like it's about rearranging the puzzle pieces. Like in the way that you position it, and it unlocks more perceived value too. There's more pricing potential and stuff. And, otherwise what you're doing is you're competing in a commoditized market and you can still win. If you're awesome, you'll crush it. But it's annoying because your new customers are going to compare you to all these other people because they don't understand how awesome you are yet. And then for you, how are you going to prove it to them? Just keep telling them how awesome you are? Are they going to believe you? No, because that's what everybody does the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being better. It's about being only. You're the only company that does this variant of this thing for these people, or you're the only agency for redheaded, left-handed midget golfers, right? Like, I don't know. So like you got to be the only, they got to have separation somewhere. That's
I think that's a perfect place to end the show, man. Red-headed midget golfers, left-handed golfers to be exact. So
little people golfers,
little people.
No offense, man.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was a long show for a short person. I love it.
Yeah.
No, dude, thank you so much. Congratulations on all the success, dude. Thank you for coming and being a part of the Sales Factory and pouring into the audience. It was cool to just be able to catch up with you too, man, because I know it'd been a couple years since we have chatted. So
yeah, it was awesome.
doing fun things and Next time I'm in down in Dallas, I'll look you up, man. Would love to
good.
grab some breakfast or some lunch. Guys, you know what to do. Hit the review button, leave us a review, share the episode out. It'll help us get in front of more entrepreneurs so that we can help people make a difference. As you guys know, the government's never showed up and saved anybody that I know, and I think entrepreneurs solve all of the world's problems. So go out there, be great, make it awesome, hustle. It's worth it. Until next time, we'll catch you then. Cool, dude. Thanks, man. Easy peasy, right?
My pleasure. Hopefully that was useful.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Of course. That was solid content, man. And that's why I like to just let the shows go and poke and kind of steer along. And like, I didn't think we would talk about ClickFunnels. I had it on my notes. I was like, man, I would like to ask him because I remember maybe that's the last time I saw you in person was at Keith's Marketing ROI event, I think.
Could be. Yeah.
And so you were mentioned that and that was like 2018. So I think you were just a couple years into that program. So it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that had a huge effect on the trajectory of our life, was meeting all those people and learning all that stuff. It was like a whole other world. It's like a candy store of just ideas and possibilities. People doing, I was in the room and the online challenge was like invented. Like the lady that invented it is a lady named Natasha. No one knows who she is, because then like as soon as she presented that she did this thing and she was calling it a challenge and like how it worked, the whole room was like, oh my God. And then they all did them. And then those people more did them and then more did, right. And they still work
Wow.
now. But it was so cool just seeing people do weird, big stuff.
Yeah, you got my gears turning a little bit with that, like build the community and then they get the stuff for free because like that's all that packaging stuff that Russell talks about, man. It's like what do you actually sell and then what's the bonuses, right? Hermosi talks about the Grand Slam offer, right? So it's like,
Yeah, how do you if you can figure out a way to give away for free what other people, what your competitors charge for, you're going to win sort of automatically. You just have to make it make sense financially.
yeah,
It's like for years, I never did this, but ever since like probably 2015, I've been obsessed with the idea, which is irrelevant now. But if I would have done this in a big way, it would have been huge. I wanted to have a free CRM that was as good as a House Call Pro or a Jobber. And like you figure out how to monetize it a different way, right? Because what are they supposed to do? Like if the product is actually as good, if it's comparable, what's their argument back? you know,
right.
like no, don't do it for free, do it for money. Like they're screwed, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you can think of that with like every type of product. It's like
Mm-hmm.
why are you charging an agency retainer when that's what everybody charges? It's like switch it, right? Um,
It's
yeah.
interesting, man. Yeah, there's we're we've worked with some of the top State Farm, Allstate, and Farmers agents. Like we've really gotten super deep into the captive agents, and so that's like been a fun place to play and figure out. Now we're like, do we keep going deeper there? Because it's like riches are in the niches. It's like, well, not when you're niched that far down, right? Like there's like you're so deep at that
Well,
point.
the
Like
insurance agents in general or just State Farm?
well, what they call captive agents. So captive agents is State Farm, Allstate, Farmers. Basically anybody that flies a flag, right? That's not an independent agent, not life insurance, et cetera. It's like PNC captive agents is like where we've been living at. But total market size on that is 17,000 State Farm agents, about 9,000 Allstate agents, and another.
How many clients do you have?
We're sitting at about 600 right now.
600. That's a lot. Is this
Yeah,
a pretty big business, your agency?
it does all right, man. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. The challenge that we have though is that when I looked at it, I was like, oh, 19,000 State Farm agents. Like, if we could just go get like 2,000 of those guys, like shit, we're massive, right? Well, then it was like, yeah, well, there's not 2,000 that will do outside of State Farm corporate issued guided programs. And then when you try to talk to corporate, they're like, we don't want to. We're good. We have our own stuff internally. They don't want to. They don't even want to have a meeting with us. So it's like we've been kind of figuring out if we want to pivot back to home service. But I like the community thing, dude. Trying to figure. I'm gonna think on that one because like
Well, do you have a list of home service people, or is it more insurance? And when you go speak and stuff, is it to insurance or who?
it's mainly been insurance. PWNA had me speak, and IWCA had me speak this past conference. So like I maybe have a list of like I would say probably 5 to 6,000 in the contracting space. But the reason why I say your idea about the community is interesting to me is like, I love coaching, but it's like, I don't want to do my sales coach's model of like 5 one-to-one coaching calls 4 days. Like that's like exhausting, right? But it's like, man, if there was some type of a group coaching program that if you paid that into
Well,
there,
what's your most expensive coaching offer that you've
I don't
sold?
even have one. Like I took them all down. I don't like you
What
can't
was it
even.
though?
It was a
'Cause
ten ten
I don't
thousand
do a
dollar
lot of
program.
coaching, but I'll do high ticket consulting, and it's totally different. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And it's not even my main business. I just use it to fund the black hole of this business. Because this business isn't really up and on plane. We do a couple million in revenue, but our expenses are like 3 million. So we've just been building the team, building the tech, getting the thing, and like proving our model, literally proving it. We have hundreds of case studies already before we launch. And
Wow.
and anyway, my point is though, is that like FRAP is a really cool framework because it applies to like any industry. And so there's like weird, like we have a movie theater chain that's going through our FRAP training and
Really?
making way more money. We have a donut shop. Uh we have doctors, restaurants, food trucks, tree companies, every home service, obviously. Um, all kinds of weird stuff. And so
Wow.
if you can use your brain to pull 300 grand in profit out for a business, which is very easy to do when you understand FRAP, it's like not a big deal to charge them 100 grand to do it. And you can meet like twice a month for an hour, and that will happen like
Yeah.
for real. So that's interesting. Or what you could do is like, I'm trying to think of how your thing would tie. Does your agency, it can do stuff for home service, it just doesn't?
Yeah, it's just never been our vertical. Yeah, like it's like it
It's the
everything
same
that
thing,
it's
right?
yeah, because it's service business specific. Like as long as it's a service business, everything that I've built has been built around a service business. So like we have a pool contractor, like we have home service clients, we have roofers, we have, gutter guys. Like I have home service businesses that are clients. They came per referral from the insurance agents that we work with, right? Because then they write their business insurance and they say, hey, DJ's guys are helping us with our marketing and this thing called Alley. You should go check it out. And then they end up coming to us and
What do
signing.
you charge per month for your agency average for like a home service?
If it's fully loaded, you're at about $1,800 a month.
Is that normal? Are everybody fully loaded, or is that
We have some people in the lower tiers. I would say our average value is probably around $800 a month, recurring.
okay? Because what would make sense, that maybe there's some opportunity or crossover, maybe. I don't know. We're just playing in the sandbox, crazy ideas, but
Yeah.
your home service clients that are agency clients of yours we call these local masterminds FRAP chapters. That's what they're called. They need to start one because it's a JV engine for them. Like they get so much work just from the cross promotion stuff, even with a small group. And then what we can do with you is basically be like an affiliate of that thing, right? And so it's like an agency's job is to help businesses grow, right? And
Yep.
so you're doing lead gen, you're doing housekeeping on the internet and cleaning up their GMB or doing SEO or whatever it is that you do, but you're doing lead gen. It's very congruent for you to tell them, hey, you should look at this FRAP chapter thing because we can open up referral partnerships that will grow like insane over the next year, and you're getting paid to do it. And so they're making money. They'll make 100 grand with a 30-person FRAP chapter that they net, and it takes them 2 meetings a month.
Wow.
Then you can get paid on every single seat. Because the way that we make money is when they bring someone into their group, there's a little fee, monthly fee that they pay to sit inside of our platform, right?
Mhm.
And part of that fee could go to you or whatever. It just depends if you have enough reach, but it gets kind of crazy kind of fast. If you had like, 50 people that eventually launched these and you brought them in to do it, you're not having to do anything, but you'd be making, it depends how many people are in each of their groups. But if just for simple numbers, if they all were full groups, or maybe it took 2 years, but if they all had 30 people in their group, that'd be 30 people times 50. It's 1,500 times $20 a month. How much is that? Like 30, 40 grand a month, something like that.
You said
30
30 people per
bucks.
chapter at 15 chapters. It's
No, at
450,
50, at 50, 50
50 chapters.
chapters. I don't know. My
Yeah,
point is
yeah, yeah.
there's we charge a small monthly fee. We pay part of that out as like an affiliate thing. Um, but it's not more work for you, and it's totally congruent with what an agency's job is, which is to help the business grow. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. Yeah, because we were talking. Do you know Reagan Weiss? He's down
No.
he's down in Florida. They've got a company called Trade Up Marketing. They only work with trades guys, and they've done something similar to this. They call it the Hub Network, and where like basically they will take an HVAC client that's in Utah, right? That they fly out 4 times a year and do content. They do like media production, which I'm like, dude, unskillable as unskillable gets, but like you guys have fun with that. But I basically went to the HVAC guy and they're like, hey, you should launch a hub network event, like a hub network here in your town. You'll be the guy. Then you bring all these other businesses in, you guys exchange referrals. And then as part of that, Reagan and his team at the hub, like a couple times a year, they'll fly in and they'll be the speakers for that event or whatever. So similar to that, it sounds like, but you have your infrastructure on the backside of like the actual course curriculum that you're teaching to the people. So it's a little more.
Well, yeah, there's curriculum, but the other big difference is that what we do isn't referrals. We do
Okay.
venture swaps. That's not the same thing. It sounds like it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
not.
Pardon my ignorance then,
Well,
Josh.
no, I mean, it's not
Yeah,
your
no.
ignorance. It's just the problem with BNI is you're not going to 10x your business because you go at a 6 a.m. meeting, they say my grandma's neighbor needs a plumber. Good luck. Like that's
Yeah.
what we need is structural embedded offer swaps. I'll give you one example. Like a carpet cleaner has a contact form on their website. People fill it out. I'm going to get a quote for carpet cleaning. They hit submit. They land on a thank you page. It's like, thanks, we'll be in touch. That page needs to have the landscaper's foot in the door offer on it, especially because they're in like a buyer state of mind. And it costs nothing for it to be there, right? But they can
Yeah.
swap things like this. And so when
And
you
then they'll put
stack
them on
that
the
with
opposite
15
side.
or 20 companies, you can do email swaps, interview swaps, direct mail swaps. You can do social media shout out swaps and all kinds of different things. And when those are happening all the time, it's like, it's insane how much money that is. And it's not the same as a referral. It's about how do I embed my offer into the deal flow that's already happening in your company?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
like you said, about
Like on
the
the challenges thing,
dealership.
right?
The
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
a embedded joint venture system, which is super different than let's hang out for a networking meeting and try to refer each other this
Yeah.
one time,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
ongoing.
And
It's
if you don't bring a referral, you're kicked out, right? It's like,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. And so, which just means people give really low quality referrals
right.
because they
Yeah.
don't want to get kicked out. So they make stuff up. It's like, are you sure he wanted a plumber? Well, he said that he has water in his house. So, like, I'm not calling this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And send me info on that, man, because that's interesting. Depending on what the fee structure and stuff looks like, because we're looking at trying to do something here locally, just from I don't know, man. I got kids, dude. I don't want to fly all over the country and be gone all the time like I used to in my 20s, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think it's awesome.
once you
It
have kiddos,
changes.
dude, I got a 52-acre farm here in Kentucky now. So it's like, yeah, I'm in my studio, which is in my barn that's 50 feet away from my house. So it's
It's
like
awesome.
I'll come out here and work, and when I'm done, I go hang out on the farm, or plant my sunflowers or hang out with my kids. It's like,
Well, maybe the final quote I'll leave you with is this: You've already won, and there's nowhere to get.
man, I want your thoughts on that, because that contradicts the like sons and daughters level, right?
So,
Because like, how do you get to? I'm not saying absolutely it does, but in my
yeah,
eyes,
it sounds
right,
like it
it's like,
does.
well, then I'm good. Like, why do I need to go build a $10 million a year company and sell it
You
if
don't. Like the king part of that is all about, you see, the way God views kingship is not the same thing the way the world does. Like we view a king as like the king of England, everybody like bows down to him. And no, Jesus washed his disciples' feet.
Mm,
Kingship is about servant leadership. And that doesn't mean you're passive beta male. What it means is that like you are called to, you have a domain, the word dominion, God said to have dominion over an assignment. So right now, DJ, your assignment is your family. And so for you to be a wise, productive, badass king over your most important assignment literally means to do what you're doing on your 52-acre thing. And so there's seasons in life. There's hustle and grind seasons. There's rest and restore seasons. There's time to make sure you have a foundation with your kids and your family.
yeah,
My kids are getting older now, and so I'm going in back hard into this,
yeah,
and it just ebbs and flows. So it's like my domain is like, who do I have influence over? Who am I called to serve? Who am I called to help? And part of my calling is to help businesses understand stuff like this. but it's not my only calling. Like
Yeah.
it's not a paradox, but two things can be true at the same time. And my friend that told me that quote, you've already won and there's nowhere to get.
I'd love that.
He has a $60 million company. So like, and his name's Tony Grebmeyer. Maybe you've seen him online, but he has this thing called the Gratitude Journal. He's this nice guy, but he used to be a horrible, bad alcoholic. And he's just had this pain story. And he's just learned that like, if you can detach from the outcome, you actually get a bigger outcome. And if you lean into like serving your family, but then also crushing your work, but you detach from this idea of how much you're supposed to have made by now or whatever, things will start opening up. Because
Yeah.
when you're trying to get money, it's harder to get money. This is why everyone's close rate is bad when you need the sale to work. And it's
Mhm.
your close rate is high when you don't care if you
You
get
don't
the
give a
sale to
shit.
work.
Yeah. Take it or leave it, man. I don't care. Right. It's like,
So
all right, well,
in the
give me the
summer, the
deluxe
busy
package.
time, in the busy time, everyone's closing everybody at highest prices of the year, because they're like, I don't even want, I'm already booked a month out. I don't care. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, man. Good stuff, dude. Appreciate you, man.
See you, brother.
See ya.